Hello, everybody. My name is Lewis Lee, and this is Playing in Traffic. We do this every Thursday night, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, live. So if you have anything you want to talk about cars, you can hit it in the chat. Hey, Ray, how's it going?
Good, Lewis. Good, Lewis. We've been, I think we got a topic here.
Yeah. We're going to talk about station wagons tonight because they're popping up everywhere. They're popping up on Instagram, in
Pinterest.
parking lots.
Yep.
Pinterest. So we're going to bring
text messages that they're popping up all over is right.
Yeah, and rare stuff too, stuff that you don't see anymore, or I've never seen. I've seen a 55 or a 56. I don't know which one it was, a Mercury station wagon, and I've never seen one. And when I was pulling in the parking lot, I'm like, oh man, what is that?
Yeah, those, especially the Mercuries, some of the oddball ones you just don't see unless they're in a museum.
Mm-hmm.
The wagon movement's been on for a long time. Through all the phases of my life, I've had a wagon and I love them. I don't currently have one that I'm driving, but I have one that's a project car. And then actually a dude in Ohio that I follow, he's just outside of Cleveland somewhere, and he's got a buttload of 55 Chevys. He's got a 55, two 55 Nomads, a 55 convertible, and a 56 Nomad wagon. And he just pulled the powertrain out of the one Nomad, and he wants to sell it. It's kind of rough, but it was a gasser. It had a straight front end. And now that he pulled it out, I want to find a listing, and he's tempted me to take a ride to Ohio.
Yeah. We'll grab it for you.
Yeah, he's definitely tempted me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Let's get Jim in. He's the connoisseur of wagons. What's up, Jim?
Jim?
Hey guys, I hear you speaking my language.
Yep.
I'm just downloading a picture off my phone. I'm going to put it up on the stream just to show you guys my car and what I do with it.
All right. So the one that I seen on Instagram was probably 85 because it had the European headlights. 85 Caprice wagon.
You can retrofit those.
Yeah. Yep.
You can retrofit them, but yeah.
And the interior was all factory. It looked factory, but you could tell it was redone.
And they did like 2 and 3 tone interiors on those cars.
Yeah.
Well, the thing you have to remember about wagons is they were today we use minivans.
Mm-hmm.
Back then it was station wagons. It was the family car plus, so you could haul all the kids, all the junk, and everything else. So when the factories built them, they put all the options in them to make them more attractive to the buyers. So there was a wagon that had some every option in the book in there.
You actually skipped a generation because the wagons gave way to the minivans, and the minivans now gave way to the SUVs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not cool to drive a minivan anymore. This is the book I recommend everybody getting right here.
Oh.
America's Coolest Station Wagons, written by my buddy Scotty Gosson. Look what's on the back. It's like an old 50s.
Wow.
It's a quarter of Merc. Very, very cool. He's got some really cool everything from gassers to stock stuff to rat rods, and this book has it all. And it's a Car Tech publication. Really, really good reading. All color photos. Cool stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now you said it's tech, so is it talking about tech stuff too?
Actually, the book it's a feature book. So he found people. I'll try and show you. He found people that had these cars, and some of them are just 1 or 2 page feet. Well, here you go. This guy is Mikey's pinstriping, and look what he's got. There's a Caprice wagon. That's a late model Caprice wagon right there.
Yeah,
but
it's like yours, Jim, right?
Hang on, let me.
Yeah,
I'm losing it here.
This is a 50 Plymouth.
Wow,
which is kind of cool. He really covers the gamut in here. Scotty was always good that way, and then you go into like your 50s. That's
really cool with those fins.
Yeah, and the wide whites and all. So the book really covers a little bit. Covers a little bit of everything, and It's good reading. There's more. It's one of those books where there's probably more pictures than text, which a lot of guys like because they don't like reading.
Mhm.
But it's a great book. It's been out for a few years now, and yeah.
Where do you
phenomenal.
find that?
Car Tech Books. So you could probably go. A lot of the stuff is on. You'll find it on Amazon. Let me see here. Let me see if we can.
You know, my mind's been on this bus. So once I'm done with it, man, I'm gonna start looking to do the Cadillac and do other projects like those wagons, man. I'd love to do a wagon.
Yes.
So on Facebook, I joined like 3 or 4 different wagon groups, and there's some cool stuff out there.
All right. Amazon has it. It's on Amazon as a paperback. Yep.
Okay,
It's there.
I'll check that out.
Along with all these beach wagons and other wagons. But yeah, it's on Amazon.
Well, yeah, that's a common theme.
Yep.
Like there's somebody out here. It's an old Caprice wagon. It's kind of beat up. He's got a surfboard on the rack, of course. Open the hood, twin turbo, 6-liter.
A beast. Yeah.
In fact, I talked to him one time. He was telling me basically he's a mechanic. Guy came in with a beat up old van, had the 6.2 liter and the L480 in it. He's like, well, hell, that's perfect. Took the motor and tranny out of that, put it into this old Caprice of his, and ran it like that. Put the twin turbos on it. Didn't even do anything to the engine and ran it like that. And the thing ran like a beast.
Yeah.
But eventually he hurt the motor. So he's like, okay. So he took everything out and basically bulletproofed the whole motor. And now the thing's an absolute beast. Unfortunately, the car's starting to rot away. So now he's looking for another body to put it in.
Yeah. This.
Yeah, but you're right. They weren't safe because they were wagons. They were utility cars. Nobody cared about them. They were like, yeah, I just get another one in 3 years.
Yeah, that's about it.
Although every once in a while I come across one that somebody just took care of because they took care of their cars. And if you happen to catch one just at the right time, you can come up with a great bargain.
There's been a couple. There's been a couple around now. People always send them to me. Roadmasters. You'll find a lot of Roadmasters. The Buick version. And
people are more Roadmasters than Chevys, just because the luxury.
I've always seen it kind of an equal amount. Now let's see. Oh, that's inspection. And, amazingly, but my wagon, my Caprice, only weighed 4,400 pounds. Which is kind of amazing. You think a car that big would be heavier, but it's not. This is boop, 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 boop. There's a shot of it.
That's your car?
That was my car, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
9C1 wheels?
Yeah, I did. I put the 9C1 wheels on it, and you really
look like the police.
They really filled out the back. Well, the guy had limo tinted the back windows. I had a black grill in it. I wanted to put a push bar on it, but those wheels, you can see, it really filled out those rear wheel wells. It was a tight fit. That was really pretty cool. So yeah, that's why everybody sends me shit. But yeah, it's definitely cool. We have one at the shop now. We got a 73 Mercury. Mercury, is it a Monterey? The guy who owns the shop, just like he just likes finding cars. He just likes finding cheap cars and buying them. So he bought an 88 or an 89 Chevy. Actually, he bought the Mercury first, and he found this Caprice. Has a 4.3 in it, but the guy has like meticulously taken care of this car. The only problem is, the clear coat is bad, and the paint's a little sketchy, but it runs like a top. Mechanically, it's perfect. And the Mercury, he got it for like $600. The guy parked it in Belmore, and it was a young guy. He says, "Yeah, I got it. I was going to do it, but I'm just in over my head, so I got to sell it." He had to do exhaust on it. There's an issue with the windows. We got to get the windows working. There's some electrical stuff. It needed a good tune-up. And it needed, we had to take the gas tank out, do a setting unit, and it needed some rust repair in the back. That's what it needed. It needed a patch on the chassis in the back. But one of the body guys did that in an afternoon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it done in an afternoon. And I was amazed, and and that car is sitting there, and guys come by all the time because we have it parked out in front of the place and looking at it and all. And I told him the other day, I said, I almost sold the wagon for you. He goes, not for sale. I said, yeah, if I got you 10 grand for it, you'd take it. He goes, oh, sure I would.
Right.
But yeah.
I'm looking for this Vista Cruiser that I seen earlier.
It's on Pinterest because that's where the link was that I saw.
Was it?
Yeah.
I think I might have sent it to you.
Did you guys go over to Facebook and look at the Planet Traffic? Because I posted a picture of my car on that.
Oh, okay.
I think you're going to screen share it. Let me see.
Well, here is the Caprice. Oh.
That's Caprice art. Wow.
Yeah.
That's clean. Yeah, look at those wheels. Holy shit.
6-inch lips. Had a $100 bill laying in it.
Wow. Wow, look at that wheel. That's crazy.
I don't like that style wheel, but I like the deep one in the back.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
I want to find that Olds Vista Cruiser. It was a beast.
That's a beautiful car.
Yeah, that with the back end, like windows
Yeah.
pop up.
Gorgeous car.
Those are tough to find, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
And that glass is almost impossible to replace.
Yeah, people were taking them just to cut that roof off to use it for other projects.
Here's one on Facebook Marketplace for $19,000. I don't like it that much.
Wow. Yeah, right.
Well, it's like everything else. People, put a big number up there, hoping somebody will be stupid enough to pay it.
Yeah, somebody bite.
This is the Mercury that he picked up for $600.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Now, since then, he's cleaned it up a bit. It's got the two-way tailgate.
And it runs and drives?
It runs and drives. The interior is pretty clean.
That's what they give you at the scrapyard, $600.
Uh-huh. And dig this, it's a hidden headlight car.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. So yeah.
I mean, that's fine just the way it is. Just, get it so everything works.
That's what he did. He, like I said, fixed the chassis. We did the gas tank job, gave it a tune-up, and went down to the exhaust shop, got that done. And now it's, turnkey, start it and drive it. It's got like a 460 in it though, so it's not going to be particularly miserly, let's say, on fuel. But
you don't buy a station wagon for the fuel economy.
Yeah.
Unless it's a newer one, I mean, my Caprice, I used to get like 15, 16 miles to the gallon out of that thing.
So I get with mine, and I'll be honest, I'm probably a little heavier on the gas than I should be.
I mean, that's why I get my Impala too. I get the same mileage in the Impala, and I get the same mileage in my FJ.
Okay.
So it's just kind of like universal, and that's kind of driving it, fairly easy.
Looks good, Jim.
Like that?
Yeah. Got the Impala wheels on it.
Yeah. Yeah, the great thing about that, the 95 wagon is basically it's an Impala with a long roof.
Yeah.
So anything you can do to an Impala, you can do to that car.
You just got to get one with a P code in the 6th spot of the VIN.
It is, yeah. All the way, 94 to 96, all the wagons had LT1s.
You got, no, some of them had 4.3s.
I
seen
heard
them.
the opposite, is that some of the wagons never got 4.3s, but the Caprices did.
I saw a wagon with a 4.3 because the
Really?
guy was trying to sell it as a an LT1, and I'm like, hey, this is a V6. Look, count the spark plug wires. It's a 4.3. The other tip off, I did they have a. There was another option because there was some single exhaust cars, and the single exhaust was not the LT1. The LT1 had dual exhaust.
Right. LT1 has dual exhaust.
So that was the tip off. You look for the single exhaust, and then you look for the P code on the VIN, and you were good. So yeah, and they're out there. They're still around.
Yeah, they want a few bucks for them now, though.
Yeah.
Everything
is coming up. Sure.
Yeah.
And like you guys said before, all the Impalas are gone. Everybody wants big money for the Impalas, but you can still find a Caprice and you can find a wagon.
I'll tell you what. A friend just sent me a link to bring a trailer, 96 Impala with 543 miles on it.
Oh wow.
Jeez.
25 grand.
25,000. And I told him, I said that was sticker price.
Yeah.
That was what I paid for mine new. I said that was sticker price. I said, so that really did not appreciate.
Well, they did for a while. They went down, but then they went back up.
Right.
Because I had an opportunity to buy a couple of them, and I was like, oh, I kind of messed around and didn't do it, and then they went back up.
You can get the ones that guys played around with and did all sorts of crazy stuff. You can get them for like 10 grand and under.
Yeah.
But they're kind of beat, and they've had like a bunch of hands on them and all. So yeah, but yeah, for the nice clean ones, you're still going to spend a little more.
I think that's going to be one of the cars that in 20 years is going to be that car.
That's what I said. That's why I kept mine. It's been 20 years. Now it's been 25 years.
Mm-hmm. I think another 20 years that is going to be the 69 Camaro.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? I don't know.
If
We're going to be around in 20 years.
I don't know.
The whole thing is
drive it.
The whole thing is going to be the electronics, how they stand up, what's going to be available. Because we've talked about this on the show for a long time, for years already. How are the cars from the 90s, the 80s and 90s going to be as restoration candidates? And, places can make rubber and they can make all sorts of other parts, but it's the electronics that are going to be the stumbling blocks, I think. I don't think places are going to be replicating, body modules and the computers you'll get, the ECM you'll get, but the smaller stuff, unless there's really a market for it.
I think early 80s, maybe up to like 86, 87. I think those cars will, but after 87, that's when they went to all plastic and garbage.
Right. Well, then you get into the 90s, which is where the Impalas are. And the Camaros. There's a lot of cool Camaros and Firebirds in the 90s, WS6 cars and all, FSs. But again, is electronically they're going to be able to be rebuilt? I don't know.
Right.
It's a good question.
Yeah. We've been talking about that for a while, and no one has an answer because it hasn't happened yet.
And it's not like junkyards are keeping that stuff.
No. You'd be hard pressed to find anything under 2005
right
in a junkyard.
Brian, I could have sold your car yesterday.
My car?
Yeah.
Which one?
The Mustang.
Oh God! Don't start, please. You sound like my wife.
Well, I'll tell you what. There's a guy at the shop, and he teaches at BOCES, and he's a great body man. I'll tell you more about him later. But he asked me if I could talk to this guy. He says, a friend of mine, my friend's father-in-law, is retiring, and he wants to get himself a project car. Mm-hmm. I said, okay. I said, what kind of project car? He says, he's looking for a Mustang. I said, uh-oh. What era Mustang? Well, mid-60s. Like, oh, shit. I said, I've had my fill of those cars. I said, okay, so what do you want me to do? Well, I want you to talk to him and kind of advise him. And I said, yeah, I'll do that. I'll try and talk him right out of it. Absolutely. So I talked to the son-in-law, some dude with an English accent. He calls me from like Midtown Manhattan. He's walking down the street talking to me. He was kind of cool. He understood the whole thing, but he's not really a car guy. He goes, okay, I'll tell my father-in-law. And he's telling me, yeah, my father-in-law, we call him MacGyver because he can fix anything. And he's got an awesome set of tools. And the guy's an
He's a
engineer.
TV repairman.
Yeah, right. So I said, an engineer, huh? I said, mechanical or electrical? No. Well, he works on like roads and bridges. It's like, oh, he's a civil engineer. I said, which doesn't mean he's not a good
Right.
mechanic. So this is about a month or two ago. I said, okay, give him my number, have him call me. Yesterday, he calls me out of the clear blue, right?
Wow.
So I talk with him. Nice guy, super nice guy. Sounds like a total regular dude. And I said, okay, here you want to restore a Mustang. Yeah. I said, give me a history with cars in a nutshell. Well, when I was younger, now I guess he's in his 60s. He goes, when I was younger, I always worked on cars. He goes, I've had a boatload of Mustangs from 65s. I said, he's had 65s up to 68s. He goes, then I had like a 69 to 70 Mach 1. He goes, so I'm looking from like the mid 60s up to like 70. I said, okay, you're spanning 2 generations of cars. And I said to him, all right, my first advice to you is this. I said, if you're hell bent on doing this, get together the most amount of money you can get and spend that. I said, and then actually spend more than that, because the Mustangs are highly problematic with restoration because of rust. And then I gave him my sob stories, and I said, find a clean one, even if if you can find clean sheet metal and the paint interior and it needs an engine. If that's all shot, that's a good buy, because the sheet metal is good. And I told him about the one at the shop, the 66 that's from Alabama that has all the hokey stuff done, and all the other ones I've worked on. And he's getting it. And he goes, okay, back in the day I did some body work, and I never did a paint job, but I did a lot of body work, panel replacement and stuff like that. I said, okay, so you're familiar with the process. And then he was talking about, I said, let's talk about the 69s and 70s. I said, my buddy at the shop has a 69. I said, and it's had some work done to it, well, a lot of work done to it. Let's put it this way. I saw parts of a Mustang on that car that I didn't even know existed because they were so far buried. The torque boxes was the easy fix. Once they cut the torque boxes out to replace them, it was the stuff above it that was bad, and they cut that out. I mean, they just kept going and going and going. I said, now that'd be a great car. Huh?
I said, that's the problem.
Yeah. So I said to him, now there's a car that has all that work done to it, and it's been painted. I said, he told me, well, I had those armadillo things on the back. I said, yeah, this car has the armadillo things on the back too. He goes, and I had the spoiler. I said, this car's got the spoiler. He's got the Boss stripes on it. I said, I had a shaker hood. This car is a shaker hood. I said, it's a 351 with a 5-speed. I'm going to put a T5 in it, so that's not original. I said, the car needs finishing. It needs some dash work still. I said, I know for sure that the clutch rod, you need a new clutch rod because you can't adjust this clutch anymore. It needs a little longer rod. I said, so the car needs a few little things. This is a good car to tinker with as you drive it. Is it for sale? I said, well, guy who owns it pretty much almost sell anything. So it probably is for the right amount of money. So I actually ran up by Mike today. He says, you sold what? My yeah, your Mustang, Mike. So he's thinking about it. But then I said to the guy, well, so what's the one you'd really want? What's the wish list car? He says, mid 60s fastback. I said, I know a guy's got one of those too. I said, unfortunately, his isn't for sale.
Yeah.
I said, but if you buy his tool truck, maybe he'll throw in the car. I don't know. We'll have to see about that. I said, you know what? That's a perfect car for a wish list. Keep wishing. I said, because now you're at the top of a heap. That's the car that I said, I'm not a Ford guy and I would take a fastback.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's crazy. I stumbled across, of course, we talk about your YouTube feeds and when you watch one thing and how you stumble across, and I got on that cow replacement section.
Oh yeah.
And I tell you, man, I thought I'd seen them all, but I guess there's always a new batch of those videos coming out, and it's really a shame. People get those get the car, and they get they dig into it and they get to that point and they're like, screw this, and they pour everything in there to seal it up or try to make it look halfway decent. And the stuff that people, once somebody buys it and they get working on it and they're like, man, this is a mess. And next thing you know, you got, the whole center of the car cut out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, I guess I look back or go back and forth between, I guess I'm lucky that in one part of not driving the car for the last 30 some years, at least it's maintained, or I didn't have to go through its second restoration on it or whatever.
None of that is
replacing
apart, right?
So, but because that's what they were talking. I was watching this one guy, and I don't know. It seems to be a lot of, I guess there's I guess all the 65s and 66 are either thrown away or no longer, you can't find them anymore, because it seems to be more of 67, 68 style.
Really?
And some of these guys are saying like this is the second restoration.
Yeah.
And time wise, this is like the second go around, and what they used back in the old days was so bad. It's just, such a bigger mess.
I can definitely see that.
Of course, with technology, I mean, and well, actually back then they didn't have everything they have now. Like you said, you can just open a catalog up and order
the whole car.
You can order a whole car. It's just like, I got a shop owner that's got an older C10 pickup truck, and he slammed it on the ground, put hydraulics, got an LS in it. It's really, I mean, it's a beautiful truck, and it's got the patina. It was like a paisley yellow color, and he just scuffed it or cleaned it and then sprayed it, so it has all the patina and the rust. It's a beautiful truck, and but like you said, that truck right there, he's like, I don't understand. All I do is pick up the phone. You can order anything and everything for that. Right. You have to make anything for it.
Just to back up a couple steps, what Brian was talking about, that cowl repair, the 66 we have at the shop that I have to work on again either tomorrow or Saturday, has this issue, and there are these two big cans on either side under the dash, and they tie into the cowl for the fresh air vent. And when I reached up under the left side, the driver's side, I felt this can, and it was kind of loose, and then rust was falling on me, so I yanked on it, and this is what came out in my hands.
What
so down here, this is the cable and the arm that would move the flapper valve to let the air in. But all this stuff it looks like asbestos, but it's rust.
That's where fresh air is supposed to go. That center section is where air is supposed to go into the car. That's supposed to be fresh air.
Oh, that's the Astro Air setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, when I told the guy that owns the car, I said, listen, dude, I said, this is what's in your cowl. I said, you can't really use this. You're going to get no fresh air coming in the car. I said, and this repair is really hard to do. You got to cut the cowl, flap it back. It's like doing major heart surgery. And he likes his car so much, he's going to have it done.
Wow.
And I said, man, you're jumping in both feet.
You have to pull the windshield out to cut the cowl. Some guys leave the windshield in, and they cut along where the trim would go, and then weld it all back in. But it's so thin and so much welding, you gotta be careful of the warp. I mean, I've seen some really. By the time they were done, the car gained about 75 pounds of plastic on it. Because
I'm pretty sure the windshield track is bad anyway, so it's all got to get done. So that's what I was trying to tell the guy on the phone yesterday. to look out for and be careful about. I said, if you see a cheap or even a lower priced Mustang, run. Either look at it, look at those areas right away, or just run, because there are no cheap Mustangs. It's like a Camaro. You're not going to find a cheap one unless it's a piece of crap.
Yeah. Well, if you find a cheap one, you're going to have to put a lot of work into it.
Right.
I mean, and that was another thing, because they said a lot of places where they fix the cowls or they fix the air inlets, they rust up above that. They get the pinholes. They get the little pinholes, and again, you don't see anything. You can pour water down there, and every once in a while you get a little bit of water leak. But but those pinhole, like I said, it's unfortunately, that's one of the bad things about with that Mustang.
Right.
Rust treat it, get vintage air, block off those Astro air vents.
Right.
Rust treat, throw some rubber inhibitor down there, something like that. Rust treat it, and
a lot of guys, and Chip Foose did it on a couple of his Mustangs. If you look at a lot of his Mustangs, his early ones, he eliminates that front cowl section altogether, and they actually move the motor back. They move all that stuff back, and they move the motor back, and they get a better center of gravity on the car.
I think Ring Bros does that.
They do that too, and it's really weird because when you look at it, you don't notice it at first, and you realize how long the hood is, because that cowl breaks, where the brake is between the cowl and the hood. But they do that, and a lot of those cars have no inlet there, which I don't know. I guess if you wanted to move them, I mean, you have a lot of room if you move that motor back. Then taking that out, that's 4 inches, 5 inches you have to play with.
I saw that in the CUDA when I was working on it this weekend. There's like 2 of them right on the upper, and I was like, "Oh, that's got to go." We're blocking that off. That's got to go.
Yeah, it was funny because how we were talking about. I think you were talking about it on the show, Ray, about cutting the spark plugs.
Yeah.
Cutting the. I can't remember what the guy. I come across something on YouTube, and the guy says, I'm going to modify my engine by cutting the spark plug ground straps. That's what he called it. And I was like, what in the world is this guy talking about?
Right.
And so I can't remember. So he goes, I've seen this before. It's supposed to add all this performance, or, it's supposed to be, but I cut these ground straps, and I was like, what the hell is a ground strap on it? Then I realized he's talking about cutting the electro.
Right.
And so the first time he cut them like at the base of the spark plug. So it was like, I said, you don't have a Hemi motor. I mean, there's no way, there's no air gap now. I mean, because he couldn't get the car to run or something, and I'm like, there's no spark at all now. If you had a true Hemi motor, you can at least use the top of the piston for your air gap,
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Jump the gap. But I'm like, so he got another set of plugs, and he cut them, and he says that he's on actually he put new plugs in the car and ran better. I don't know. This guy had a 65 or 66. And he had a stroker done to it, and he's been having issues with it. He got into the sniper thing. He's, trying to get it to run right. And a lot of people don't realize, and this is a problem, a lot of guys will take spark plugs and they get their old spark plug cleaner out and they clean them. Well, they destroy the porcelain. So the porcelain will soak in the gas and foul the plugs just as. I mean, you got to be careful doing it. You can damage, because he put another set of plugs in. He goes, "This is the best the car's ever ran."
I should have brought it in. I have it in the garage. My buddy Mike, the shop, just gave me yesterday. He says, "Yeah, I got something for you." I'm like, "What's that?" It's in a nice black box. It's a spark plug tester. You put in a good plug and then a used plug. And I guess it references the two, and you can change the RPM, and it gives you it gives you a spark pattern. I haven't played with it yet, but I have it outside. I'm curious to play with that thing.
So a lot of guys will take, and we used to have this problem all the time because they said, "Oh, I took the plugs out and cleaned them," and I'm like, but they sandblast the porcelain so bad that
Right. Well,
it would, especially on a German car on a cold start, dude, it's dumping a lot of gas down in there, and that porcelain just sucks that gas in and fouls the plugs out.
That's the question. The question I have is, what are they using to blast the plugs with? Because there is special media.
Right. Well,
And
you know how that goes also.
I know.
You run out of the special media and the tool guy comes by and they say,
Dude,
here, the media is $27.95. And they're like, oh, I get some play sand for.
Look, I'm 5 minutes from the beach. I go down there and scoop up a bucket full.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. It's like salt water sand. No.
So, but you got to be careful because you chew up the porcelain.
Yes.
And then you have all kinds of problems.
Well, the other thing too is I use the spark plug cleaner, the pneumatic one. I have one at home. I have one at the shop. And when I put that plug in there, as soon as I start hitting the button, I start turning the plug. I rotate it, and only give it a couple shots. You don't have to really go ape shit on the thing because unless the plug is so bad, in that case, you should change it anyway. And then you blow it off with clean air. And then I always hit it with some brake clean. Make sure the threads are clean, blow it off, and then regap it and reinstall it.
Well, you know how it goes, Ray. Bigger is always better.
That's right.
Longer has to be best.
Exactly.
That's what she said.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
It's like baking that cake or making those cookies. You say, man, a couple more minutes longer, they'd be better, and you burn the shit out of them.
Yep. Yep.
That's why you got to go with the sense of nose. You smell it, right? And that's time to pull it out. And there's more ways than that, but I'm not getting there. We're still PG-13, I think, right?
Yep.
Yes, we are.
So Terry was here in Youngstown in the Yo.
Yeah, man. You were all over that CUDA, rubbing it, hugging it, and you were damn.
Hey,
It's funny.
There was no P. Diddy with that, was it?
No.
Okay.
Little baby oil, but
Nope.
that's it. But it's funny because I was telling my wife, I was like, a lot of people commented and said something about it, football. It was just like, like I wouldn't want to be tackled or have to tackle this guy coming through the garage like that.
Yeah.
That was funny. And,
Whose shop was that? Because that's not your garage.
No, that's Tyler's.
Tyler here in
Oh,
Youngstown.
because I was getting ready to say I didn't think you had that much room unless you were really photoshopping stuff around, running with a green screen behind you.
No, if that was my shop, it'd be full of cars. It'd be 100%.
Yeah.
I'd be getting a car every week.
Funny story. My buddy John and his wife just drove to Indiana or Illinois, I think, for his daughter's wedding. And on the way back, he was going to stop. And he says, "Yeah, I'm thinking we're going to be in Ohio. I'm thinking of stopping in Youngstown for the night." And I was like, "Oh, dude, be careful." I said, "Carbon capital of the world." I said, "I got friends there." I said, "I'll hook you up." He goes, "I don't know if I want to get hooked up with your friends." I said, "Yeah, well, it's a sketchy bunch, but they'll do you right."
Yeah, we'll tell him where to go or not to go.
He went to Akron.
Not to go.
Yeah, he went to Akron instead.
Yeah.
So I said, "Okay." I said, "The tire capital of the world."
Yeah.
But quiet as it's kept, I'm sorry, Luce, go ahead.
Yeah, Goodyear, a good year in BF Goodrich.
Yeah.
We did a lot of stuff on that CUDA. We got a big shout out to Tyler. We got the frame rails in the front frame. The car's on this. The weight of the car's on its wheels. Car's on its wheel now. We got the whole QA1 setup in. I had to run to Summit because what happened.
CUDA?
It's a 73, but we're converting it to a 70.
73,
a
70. Did you keep the torsion bars in that car?
No. You
went with that whole new.
That whole QA1 cradle.
Yeah.
And the thing is that it requires you to have to use a Willwood style brake system.
Okay.
And I didn't have the brakes. I thought I could just slap on the hubs from the stock K member that was on the floor.
Yeah.
And you can't use that. So I called up Summit and they had it in stock. And I ran over there and picked them up and got the wheels on there. And the car's sitting on the ground and it looks great. It looks great.
This was the newest release on Hot Wheels Digital, and it's a 72 CUDA funny car.
Ah, sweet.
Yeah, 72. Yep.
Cool.
There go a
Yeah.
color
But
for
it's
you.
on
Terry.
a funny
That is a
car.
nice color, actually. But I just can't get past the green.
That green and black.
They're
looks
all
good.
green.
I can't get past the green. I just can't do it. I can't do it.
You
I
got to
can't
go
do
with a pearl green, that deep
Right.
pearl.
I just can't do a green, man. I just can't. No. And
Come
plus,
on,
I think. Hey,
Green
listen,
to
this
match
is,
your eyes. Come on, it's sexy, baby.
this is a Summit build, so I think we're going to either go red, white, and blue. I think it's going to be blue. Because what we did was we took the brake booster out, and when you remove stuff like that, it has the original paint on it, and you put a little wax to it. I'm like, that blue the car was originally blue. I was like, that's a pretty blue. So
Was it like a metallic?
It's probably like either
yeah.
B5 or B7 blue.
I think it's B5. I
Yeah,
think it's B5. It's like
I think
sky blue.
7 is a little just a touch lighter than 5.
It almost
B5
looks
is
like
very popular.
it almost looks like the blue, like on the where it says streaming, like on the webpage here, like the stream this
Oh,
to your
yeah.
audience. Almost looks like that blue there.
All right.
It is a pretty blue.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
I talked to Gil. Gil is like, we'll find you a nicer blue.
Ah,
We'll find you a nicer blue. So
what color was the interior originally? Do you know?
black.
Okay. It's nice with a
Really?
white
Most of
interior.
them were all brown, right? It was a tan.
No.
Yeah. That's the way all Chryslers are, man. It's like a
Well,
Ford. They're
No,
all
no, it's blue.
puppy poo brown or
No, they did make a bunch of blue cars with white interiors, which is very nice, in my opinion. Yeah.
Depending on the blue, I think I'm gonna go with the black gut or either like a camel. I always like the
That's very nice.
camel.
Light
Camel.
tan, something like that. Yeah.
Camp.
But I think it's going to be blue. I like a black gut. Matter of fact, on my OBS, I'm going to change that from that burgundy to a black gut, like a charcoal gut.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
No.
What do you mean, no?
No.
Sorry, you talking about the CUDA?
Well, the CUDA is going to be a black gut, yeah.
Okay, but no, the body's gonna be blue.
Bodies, I'm thinking about blue, yeah.
Okay. You
It's
said
got to
Either
be
be
yellow
blue or
with
either candy
bumblebee
apple
stripes. Yellow with bumblebee stripes.
Yeah.
This conversation's over.
Oh man, treat me like that. Come on, man.
Now
Yellow with
kids.
bumblebee stripes.
You gotta make that thing stand out. We gotta see it coming a mile away before it even gets
It's a CUDA, the body style. That car, you could paint it black and that car stand out a mile away.
there. Mm.
Yeah.
Certain cars are like that.
Yeah. That's it. You're right.
But then certain cars are not. That just blend like Mustangs. They just,
Yeah, I know. That's
Yeah.
true.
except for 70 and 69 Mustang.
I
Those
don't think
stand
so.
out. It's that 68, 67, those 66.
Yeah, I know those are terrible years. I hate them.
Yeah.
Thank God I got a 66. So
That's even worse. Those are don't get me started on those ones.
it's okay, Terry. I still love you.
Okay,
I'll still
man. Yo,
I'll
what
still hit that like button and share. Okay.
You know something? I found out a tool I did not know. Tyler turned me onto this new tool called the what was it? The one with the bristle? It was like metal. The scaler.
bristles.
Scaler.
Yeah.
A descaling file. Yeah.
Yeah, this is
I
cool.
never saw anything like that before,
Yeah.
man. That took off the gunk like nothing I
Yeah.
ever seen before.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, So
Yeah.
I did a whole video on this thing. I said, how have I not heard about this thing?
Yeah.
It took off. I mean, all the years of nastiness, gunk, and sticky
That one
crap.
from Eastwood's really nice. The one with the wheel.
Yeah.
It's got like
It's like a 3-inch wide wheel.
it's
Oh,
it's
the,
longer than that. It's like four
Contour, the
5
RTS
inches,
Contour.
and the wires come out and go. It's actually we have one that's only an inch and a half wide, and it's to remove body. It's originally to remove seam sealer. That's why it's only an inch and a half wide.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
it comes
the-
with different wheels. Yeah.
Right. It has a rubber wheel, and then it has like grinding, and then you have not a grinding, but it's a coarse gasket, and then you have the wire. But the wire comes out straight and then goes at a 45-degree, and man, that's a hell of a cleaning bristle.
That's the SCT Contour. You hold it like this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. Clean some stuff. That seam sealer one, man, it'll clean up some stuff in a heartbeat. So
Yeah, I got one of them. I got
It's
one.
it's all in the tools.
It's on the tools, man.
So while we're talking about bodies, I got to tell you my sad story. Brian already knows this
I
one.
know it was terrible.
But I'll tell you later. There's some stuff that I can't disclose on a public forum yet, but we can talk about it later. I was at a cruise night Monday, and actually, I went with my buddy because I had to deliver to him a box of bullets. So I said, I got your stuff for you. So I said, I'll pick you up. We'll go to the cruise night. He's like, okay. So he goes to get in the car. He goes, oh, should I take them out now? I said, I'll leave in the car. It's all right. We'll get them when you get home. It's fine. We go to the cruise night, and it was a particularly windy night. So we're out in an open parking lot, and we all kept standing with our backs to the wind because it was pounding us. It was getting a little cold. And for some reason, I don't know, well, it was a real thin night, thin crowd because it was kind of cold, and guys didn't even come out. So a couple of the guys from the club that hosts it came running over to my car, and they're like, wow, look at this. Fresh meat, new car. Hey, who's this guy? What's going on? Like, what are you talking about? Wow, first time we're seeing this car. I'm like, first time you look, dude. I've been coming here all summer. But literally, there's been like 60 cars at this meet, so it's easy to miss one. Easy. And so a couple of Pontiac guys, and they're looking all over the car, and they asked me what's under the hood. So I open it. Oh, Pontiac motor. Now they're seeing the fuel injection. Guys were hammering me. Two of them, two at a time, asking me fuel injection questions because they each were thinking about changing, but heard all the bad stories. So I was educating them on what I know and what I said, listen, the first thing is I said, you seem to be a very smart, intelligent guy. I said, you can do it. And he's like, yeah. I said, I'll tell you what. I said, the reason I can do it is because I know how to read. He's like, and I said, yeah, you got to read the manual and you got to do what it says. I said, the back page of the manual shows you all the things not to do. I said, the guy I got this stuff from did all of them, plus a couple others. I said, that's why it didn't work. So we were talking for a good part of an hour. And then we decided, this club gives you a 15% discount card to go in and eat. So it's 15% off the whole bill, not for a person. So I said, listen, let's go get something to eat. So with that, I said, oh shit, let me lock the car. But you know what? Let me take this box that's in the back seat and let me put it in the trunk. Just so it's a little safer. So with that, I reached in, passenger window was open. I reached in, opened the glove box. I hit my power trunk release. When I do that, the trunk just comes up off the latch. It doesn't raise by itself. It popped up off the latch, and at that moment, a wind gust came. It took the deck lid and raised it up. When I saw it hit 90, I said, oh, shit. When I saw it go past 90 towards the back window, I went, oh, fuck. I'm like, and I couldn't get there fast enough. Of course, go to close it. Now, the deck lid put dents into the tulip panel, and there's dents from the bottom coming up from the hinges. Everything shifted. The trunk won't close. It's like 3 inches off the latch. Everything is jacked out of place.
This is your GTO?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I said, okay, all right. Boy, that was fun. So I had a bungee cord. I strapped the trunk down. I put the bolts in the trunk, strapped down, said, let's go eat. My friend Kevin was like, dude, he goes, I've never seen anybody calmer than you. Like, why? I said, well, I know one thing. I said, I got a great insurance company. I said, I got Haggerty. I said, and my buddy Mike, the guy I work for, I said, those are the guys that did this car the first time and they painted it. I said, and they're the guys that are going to fix it. And they got a guy there who's phenomenal with old school body problems. I said, so I got a feeling I'm in good hands. I'm probably going to make out ahead on the deal at some point. And that's where we left it. So it was just one of those freak things where you just couldn't see it coming. You didn't see it coming. And
you couldn't stop it.
So, my wife was asking me, well, you reached in and used the pad. I said, if I didn't reach in, if I would have opened the door, the wind could have grabbed the door and hyperextended the door. Then it would have been the door and the fender. That would be ugly. I said, she goes, well, what if you would have gone and used the key in the trunk? I said, well, that's a very good question. I said, same outcome. I said, because when you put a key in the trunk lid, you don't hold the trunk. You just put the key in, turn it, and you raise it. I said the wind would have come and taken it right out of my hand. Probably hit me in the head and knocked me out. I would have had a Pontiac crest emblazoned in my forehead. It could have been really ugly. I said it was probably, now as I think of it, it probably is like the best way possible that it could have happened.
Had to happen. You're glad it happened that way.
I guess, yeah, it could have been
Not
worse.
glad, but
It could have been worse any
the
other
lesser
way.
of two evils.
So they looked at it today. I took
Yeah.
it down to the shop today, and they looked at it, and they think that they can definitely get it back into shape. We're gonna see if we're gonna replace those hinges or not. If they're available, they're only used. I mean, I've never even taken them out of a car ever. So I'm looking. There's a couple guys out west that have some here and there, but it's not an easy part to find. So and the hinge is actually, there's a sheet metal bracket on each side that's welded to the wheelhouse, the inner wheelhouse, and welded to the under panel, the tulip panel, and then the hinge is encased in that. So I guess it comes apart. You know, it's one of those things that was done on the assembly line, I guess. So, well, everything was on the assembly line, but you know, kind of strange. So be careful with the wind because it's a mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to grab the hold of the door of the tool truck and hyperextend the door.
Yeah.
And the door, I tell you, I yanked on it and I messed around and the door finally closed. It never closed right, but I got it.
You know, my younger daughter was asking me, she goes, I heard you talking about the car. What happened to your car? I said, okay, the best way to explain is, you know, when you go out of the house, we got a storm door and we have a screen door. I said, you know, when you open that storm door, sometimes the screen door, when the glass is in it and the wind grabs it and it flies over and hits the railing. She goes, oh, yeah. I said, well, that's what happened to my trunk. She goes, wow. So it was fast. I said, you have no chance of catching it.
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you a funny story about that. And what happened with my front door is the hinge gets bent out of place. And once it's bent, it'll never close again unless you can unbend it, which is hard. I had an 81 Eldorado. And the
big door.
and I thought that the
long door,
the hinges would sag because the door had sagged a little bit and it wouldn't close right. You had to really work at closing it or lift the handle a little to close it. So my buddy TJ's a body man. He's been a body man for 100 years. And I asked him if he could just take a look at it. I said, I bought the hinges from Caddy. I still have them, in fact, because they're going to go on eBay. And he says, all right, let me look at it. So he's looking, he's playing with the door. He says, go get me a 7/8 deep socket, like an impact socket. I said, TJ, nothing here is 7/8. Don't ask me. Just get me a 7/8 deep impact socket. Okay. I bring him the socket. He put it into the door hinge and closed the door very gently on it, put it in tension, and then he went on the door. And I freaked out. And he says, wait for it. I'm like, what? For the paint to crack off the door? What are you doing? He opened the door. The socket fell on the ground. He pushed the door closed and it went click, click. I'm like, you son of a bitch. He goes, yeah, it's an old body man trick. He goes, it works probably maybe 4 out of 10 times like that. I was like, thank God this was one of those 4.
Yeah, old school.
Yeah, you gotta like rebend the hinge. He goes, it probably opened too far one time and it went over. He goes, you just got to bend it back into submission. Like, man.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping this guy here knows the same tricks. But yeah, it scared the shit out of me. I was like, what are you doing?
81 Caddy.
Yeah. And it was a Barritz too. It was a nice one. It was an Eldo Barritz. So I had the stainless steel roof. And it was funny. I've had 2 Caddies in my life. When I was a teenager, I bought my car for my girlfriend's father, a 65 Coupe de Ville. And it was navy blue leather interior. Beautiful car. 2-door coupe, obviously. Then fast forward to 1990, I buy this Eldorado, same color, navy blue interior with those pillow seats, and it had the Barritz top. Nice car. Another
Uh,
car put a really good sound system in, Brian.
Were all the ones with stainless steel tops Brits?
Yes.
Even
Yeah.
even back in the
Yeah.
old days.
Back to the 50s. That
Because
was
there's a guy that comes up to the cruise the Sunday show, and he's got a Cadillac, and it's got the whole top of stainless steel, dude.
that was the mark of the Barrettes, was the stainless steel roof.
Yeah, man, that's like the most interesting looking car because that stainless steel is stainless steel, dude.
And it's brushed. It's brushed.
Yeah.
It's like, my car in 81 had that.
He has a bar in the glove box.
Okay.
The factory, he opens the glove box up, and it's got a little crystal thing for alcohol, and it's got like 5 shot glasses sitting up there.
That's
He said that came with it.
What year
Crazy,
is it?
man. Huh? It's like 58.
Yeah.
60, I don't know.
57s and 58s are very hard to find. They're very expensive. They were expensive cars 30 years ago.
Yeah, it's a beautiful car.
It's got the
And
pointy
man,
tail fins on
what
it.
always catches me is that stainless steel top.
Yeah.
It's just
Beautiful.
crazy.
Yeah. And that's also the only car I ever bought off a used car lot. The only one.
Really?
It was a nice car. That was cool. Rode great. You put those windows up, and it was like
Yep.
dead silence. Dead silence, man. It was like you were in a coffin. Nice. So again, I put a really good sound. Actually, it was the same sound system I had in the Audi. I took it out of the Audi and put it in the Caddy, and and it was kicking, man. I had the subs in the back. I had the, I had that in 90s. Like I had a CD player, an in-dash CD player, which was kind of, looked at as like, wow, you got a CD player? Like, yeah. But
My neighbor had a Barrettes. She had a 84, 85 Barrettes.
yeah, same car pretty much.
Yeah.
Same car. Then they had the 40. They had the 4100 in it. Mine was still the 368, the last of the cast iron V8s. Good running motor.
The Barrettes.
But great car.
Last of the V8s, just like on Mad Max, right?
Yeah, great car. Very nice. It was my daughter was born. I said, you know what? I gotta get something a little more classy, something a little more reliable, and got the family here now. I got to put the baby in the back.
Got the family coming, so I got to pimp it out.
Went and bought the Caddy. Well, brought her home from the hospital in the back of the 71 Riviera. She got a cool ride coming home. But did the Barrettes.
I had an 81 Riv.
Same car. The
Same
Toronado,
model.
the Toronado, the Riv, and the Eldo were the same car.
Yep.
Yeah.
Long front end.
Yeah. Very nice.
But was Tornado still that was a rear wheel drive, wasn't it? No,
These were all front wheel.
Front wheel.
They were all front wheel. Even the Caddy and the Riv were all front wheel.
Yep.
And that was the first car I had. I had a Honda already, an Accord, but this was the first car I really felt what torque steer meant. Because they said, they talked about it, and I had an Accord. I'm like, I ain't feeling no torque steer. But the Caddy had enough horsepower and torque that when you hit it, you could feel that wheel.
Yep.
You were fighting that wheel. It had torque steer for sure. Very cool.
I had a 71 Eldorado front wheel drive.
Oh, nice. Nice.
And man, I could spin those tires for long as you can hold the gas down. That's how far you can spin the tires.
That was like my Riv, my 71 Riv. I could just down until the tire blew.
Yep.
It had 45 in it, Lewis?
455, yeah.
455. Yeah.
Yep.
I drove that bad boy to school, man. It was ugly, but man, everybody needed a ride. It was like, let me in. I could have 20 people in it.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah. Well, that's why wagons were so cool. You could always pile, 20 of your friends in there.
Mm-hmm.
Vista Cruiser.
So it was dragging the ground. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, it was like with my dad's. He had a '76 Buick LeSabre, 4-door, last of the big cars, and that was man, you pile everybody up in that thing, man. That was a lot. It was silver, but during that time period, the GM paint sucked, so it was like pewter gray with red interior.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was a gray ghost, man. That thing was a beast. That little 305 had a hell of a workout.
Yeah. Jeez.
That was a lot of car getting sideways, dude. When that thing came sideways, that was when you looked out your mirror, the side mirror, there was a lot of quarter panel and 2 extra doors hanging off over there, man.
Yeah.
I used
Very
to flip
true.
the air cleaner. My old man would be so mad because he'd leave at 4:30 in the morning, and he'd get in and start the car up and go down the hill. I hear a he'd sit there and stop at the end of the street and had to get out and flip the air cleaner. And then I get home from school and he'd sit there at the dinner table. Leave my fucking air cleaner alone, kid. Go right back out there and flip that son of a bitch, man. Tell you.
That's your first mod.
The first mod.
Air cleaner
Sitting there on that
air cleaner flip.
air cleaner flip, baby. Couldn't leave anything alone. That's what my dad would say. You can't leave anything alone, can you?
Oh,
You gotta take something. You can't leave anything alone. Just leave it alone. But dad, I don't know, Dad, me.
Sounded so much better.
Yeah.
All that power.
Yeah.
I know. That was a lot of I tell you, man.
Flip.
I tossed that car going across a bridge into the field. It was all snowy night. It was a snowy night, man. That was its last ride. Tossed that thing and got it hung up on the rocks, put a big old hole in the gas tank, and I'm trying to get off of it. And the guy's like, stop, sparks all over the place. There's gas all over.
Yeah,
Had to call my buddy Frank. He was the tow truck driver at Fletcher's Amoco. Old man Frank, he would come out in the old boom truck, and it was always out in the middle of nowhere, where we always broke down or blew something up. And he'd come rolling up, and he'd see me stand there, and he'd say, "I knew it had to be you. It was 3:00 in the morning, waking me up out of bed. It's always you calling me." And we get if we towed it. And I told Frank, I said, "Can we tow it home?" And he goes, "No, this car's done, dude. It's got to go in the back of the gas station." And so he tows it up there, and I'm standing there, and he looks over, and he's like, "Anybody coming to pick you up?" And I said, "No, I guess I'll walk home." And he said, "Get in the truck." It was like that Mean Joe Green moment, you know what I'm saying? Where he like threw me a soda, and it's like, get in the truck, drives me home. He knew where I lived. He towed the Mustang a half a dozen
I've been like,
times.
all right, you be safe. I'll talk to you later. I'm going back in the
Yeah, old man Frank, he at the end drives me home, walk in the door, smelling like gas, dude. Because just walking around, and there's my mom sitting there. Is everything okay? Well, yeah. Car didn't make it, but yeah, we're okay.
Define okay.
Yeah. Tell you, man. Love you, Dad. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I gave that man a workout. Woo.
That's too funny.
That's like when I tossed his rabbit through the field through the barbed wire fence. Scratch. Went right through a barbed wire fence. From front bumper, the chrome bumper had like 3/16 of an inch deep scratches from the barbed wire going through it, all the way across. It looked like it got in a fight with a Hellcat, dude. It was just scratches all the way across the whole car. I drive it home, flat tire and everything. Pulled it in the garage, got out.
Nothing happened.
Like nothing happened. Got out, and of course, my mom was like, "What happened?" I said, I had a little accident with the car. And my dad's reading the paper. He goes, "Well, how bad is it?" I said, "It's just a little scratch." Walked upstairs.
One scratch all over
Walked
it.
upstairs, and I could hear my dad. I could hear that he had a big-ass Easy Boy recliner, and I hear that arm come down and that spring, and he walks out. I hear the door open. A fucking scratch, and the fucking car's all leaned over, and oh god, tell you,
That's
All right,
too funny.
guys, it's time for me to bail.
yeah.
All
All right,
Jim.
Jim. Have a good
See
night,
ya,
Jim.
guys.
Okay.
Fun
Yeah.
times, man. So that was always the joke, because when my dad, he was pulling out of in the parking lot, and you know those big yellow poles that go around like a transformer or a fire hydrant or the front of the 7-Eleven or whatever, you know, those yellow poles.
Yeah.
Well, there was one there, and he was looking behind, and man, he ran into one, you know, like pulling off, and bent the whole car, you know, bent the whole front end around that pole.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
So he came home, and of course he walks in the door. My mom, what's wrong? Oh, I had a little accident. And he goes, and you know, it's just a small scratch, you know, like and he
I
walks
wonder where
off.
he got it from.
I couldn't resist. So I had to run out, you know, to look at this car because, you know, my dad wrecked the car, you know. So I run out and I said, a small scratch. He goes, see how that works?
Yeah.
But the only thing after that, I don't know if I ever told you, the only thing after that was he had taken the car down, and it was one of the last German cars to come over. So it had the round headlights instead of the square ones in the front. 80, they were made in the U.S., and they had square headlights, and the German ones had round headlights. And so the parts were kind of weird, and the guy, you know, like I said, the guy fixed it up. And I went to take my dad to go get the car. And we're coming down, and there was this road, really long straightaway. And, of course, you know, I get on the road, and I'm behind my dad. And my dad takes off. Of course, you know, all raw 43 horsepower from the Diesel Rabbit. You know, he's going. And I take off. I go right on by him. I'm sailing, you know. And I look back. And all of a sudden, the hood of the hood on his car comes up, and it's floating up, and it comes up over top of the windshield and goes right over top of the car, you know.
No.
And I was like, "Holy crap!" So I stop, come back, and there's my dad sitting in the road grabbing his hood, and I was like, "You all right? Are you all right?" And he's like, "Yeah," and he is like. Incredible Hulk here, dude. I mean, he is just at the end. And all of a sudden, I see him. He folds the hood up into the square, opens up the door, the back door, and puts the hood in the car. And I'm like, what do you want me to go back? He goes, I want you to go home.
Yes, Dad.
And I said, okay. I said, where are you going? He goes, I want to go back and talk to the guy at the body shop. And I was like, okay. I said, are you sure you want me to come? You know, I'll bring you back home. He said, no, I want you to go home.
You're going to handle business.
Yeah.
I said, okay. So I go home. Of course, what happens? I walk in the door. Mom, what's wrong? You know, my mom was like, what happened? I said, the hood came off the car. She goes, what car? I said, the Rabbit. And he goes, well, where's your father? I said, he told me to go home, and he was going to go back and talk to the guy at the body shop. And she goes, oh, my God.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, it wasn't nearby. I mean, it was fairly far. He walked home. I mean, you know, all of a sudden the door opens up. He walks in. Hey, Dad. Hey, son. How you doing? Blah, blah, blah.
Hey, he didn't have mud on his feet, did he?
Yeah.
Calluses on his hands.
I was like, God. But when seeing him fold that hood up and stick it in the back seat, I was like, holy crap.
You know,
man.
that reminds me of an episode of Chips. It was the season 1, and Rosie Greer is driving in a Mini. And Rosie Greer was big then.
Yeah.
And he gets pulled over, but he knows, like, you know,
He didn't have a license or something.
You know, yeah, there was they got him for something, and he was like, "Oh, Mama gonna kill me. Mama always telling me not to do this. Oh, Mama gonna kill me." And they ask him to step out of the car, so he's like wrestling with the door. Next thing, boom! He just blows the door off the car, and Potch and John just standing there like, "Whoa, what the hell's going on?" And he's like, you know, they write the ticket, and you know, he signs it. He's like, "Mama gonna kill me. Mama's gonna kill me," and he starts like kicking the car, beating it, he rips the hood off, bashing the taillights, and destroys this Mini. steering wheel. He pulls it off. I mean, destroy it. Pulls a seat out of it, and then he says, "Am I free to go, fellas?" Very, very calm. They said, "Yes, sir. You're free to go." And he's walking down the freeway now, saying, "Mama, Mama, gonna kill me! Mama's gonna kill me!" And so Ponch says to John, he says, "Hey, aren't we gonna cite him for this?" And John says, "Look, there's no law against a man ripping his own car, beating up his own car. Because we can't cite him for that. Let him go."
Let him go.
Yeah,
It was funny, man. He destroyed that Mini.
man.
That was like Hightower when he got in that Civic.
Yeah. There was an episode of Emergency where they go to a parking lot. There was a little parking lot accident, and they had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in a Jaguar XJ6, but
Yeah.
they couldn't get him out of it because he was so freaking tall. And then they put him on the stretcher, and they're trying to put him on a stretcher, but he's hanging off. And he told the guys, "Oh, dude, just let my feet hang off the end. It'll be okay. He'll be all right. Just let my feet hang off. It happens all the time." Then they lowered him in. His feet were hanging out the back of the ambulance.
I remember that.
Oh,
Well,
funny.
gentlemen, it's time for me to go. I'm gonna go get this little boy in bed. I still hear him upstairs.
All right, Terry.
All right,
All
Terry.
right, Terry. Take care.
See you, man.
Talk to you tomorrow.
Take care, brother.
See you, Terry.
So Lewis, I got to tell you, I got to commend you. Those shorts that you threw up this week from previous shows,
Yeah.
excellent, man. I love watching those.
Must have been a lot of work. That was a lot of hard work you did.
There is. Now, what I wanted to do was there was one where Brian and me and John were talking.
Uh-huh.
How do you get the subtitles in? Is that like in a program?
Yeah, it's AI. It's a program, Opus Cuts.
I wanted to send that, I didn't get to tell you, but like we didn't get. I talked to Brian about it after we were off air a couple last week, but after the hurricanes in Florida, I reached out to John's wife to see how she was doing because their house was right between Tampa and Orlando. They were right in that path, and she told me it was fine. Just had some twigs and minor stuff, no power. She goes, "Yeah, thank God, John taught me how to run the generator and do all of that." And,
Oh, good.
so we were talking back and forth for a while, texting back and forth, and I told, look, I know all the guys are always asking, and caring, wondering how you're doing, and we're all thinking about you. So when I saw the and she appreciates it, of course. So when I saw the short with John, I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna send this to her. But John didn't talk.
Yeah.
That was one of those nights where he was just kind of quiet. I think he smiled a couple times. I think he was tired.
You know what? I'll go through. I'll get some for you. I'll send them to you.
Yeah, and I'll send them to. I know she'd love to see it. She would love to see that stuff. So, yeah, but great work. That's very good. I love watching those. That's great filler. It's a good way for people to come in and see what goes on the channel, and it's very good.
So, I'm now that I'm home all day, I'm starting to get into the website. I'm redoing my website so I can start selling that stuff too, the media part of it. And
I give you guys a lot of credit. You and Chris, my co-host Chris, another guy, he can sit home and I did computer work all day. Me, when I'm home, I don't turn this damn thing on. I don't even come down here. It's like I'm somewhere else. It's like the last thing I want to do is be behind a computer, unless I have to be. But
I do in the mornings. I do my computer work, and then the rest of the day I'll do work on the bus. Stuff like that.
Right.
I'm trying to get myself into the groove, when I'm out on the road.
Right.
I saw the Amazon stuff you have on there too. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. So I'm
Amazon videos.
Yeah, I'm doing videos for Amazon
Affiliate?
No, this is influencer.
Influencer, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm doing that stuff too. You can do it anywhere, you know what I mean? I'm just getting stuff together where when I'm on the road I can just do, do little stuff here and there. But I'm getting the media company fired back up with the celebrity bookings and all that stuff. So, just getting everything tightened up. Yep.
Excellent.
There was a show I just watched on Netflix. I can't remember what the name of it was. It's done by the guy that did Pimp My Ride.
Oh,
they're kind of like redoing it.
Ryan.
It wasn't-
Q.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It's not from Q though, because it's some other guy. Unless Q is behind the scenes. Let me get the name of it.
They're finding the old Pit My Ride cars. And
No, it's not that.
Okay.
Here, it's called Resurrected Rides, and they're
Yeah.
doing like new cars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Who-
Well,
who-
not even really newer cars. Like this one, they did want a 90 something Mustang
Wait a minute,
GT.
that's not Derek, is it? Derek Beery?
No,
If
it's
he's
some.
doing something.
Let me see what this guy's name is.
He's got that roadworthy rescues.
Roadworthy
That
Rescue.
must
He
be what I'm
does.
thinking of, yeah. Get your information right, Keith, before you go telling us this stuff.
No, it's Resurrected Rides. That's it.
Who's the
And
host?
yeah, that's what I'm trying to find out who the host is. It's some comedian. Here, I'll do a search real quick. SUR
Yeah, the guys who Pit My Ride. Those are my boys, man.
Resurrected Ride. Comedian Chris Red. Never heard of him. Let's see. Yeah, but it said from the creator or something like that. It's kind of like a Pimp My Ride because like one they did a van and the guy really liked Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and they made a pizza thrower. It just like threw pizza. So it's like
Oh, yeah.
they're gonna add these stupid things on the cars.
Did it have the
Only-
face of
only
Walter
watch-
White?
Huh?
Did it have the face of Walter White?
No.
You got to be a Breaking Bad fan to understand the reference, I guess.
Yeah.
That's my man. I was just telling the wife. I was like, we need to watch that show. We watched
Yeah.
it twice. We binge watched it twice.
Oh yeah, yeah, phenomenal.
Did you watch Better Call Saul?
Of course, absolutely. Couldn't wait every episode. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
phenomenal. Another one, great.
Breaking Bad had to be the best. I mean,
You know, that show broke ground, man. Like
Yeah.
Mad Men, it really broke some ground on TV. And Better Call Saul was the perfect follow-up, which was a prequel.
mhm.
Yeah, it was just phenomenal.
Did you watch the movie?
Of course, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, El Camino.
Yeah.
I saw it. I think I paid to see it like a day before they released it, and it
Oh,
was
yeah?
yeah, on Netflix. Yeah, and that was another good. That was good. That was a nice wrap up. You know that wrapped up Jesse's story, and that was the really purpose is to wrap up his story from to the end which is what it did because everything else was already done and his character deserved it because man, if anybody took a lot of shit and was kicked around, it was him.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
took it bad. Yep.
Yeah. That was the guy, and and I was following message boards every week, 2 or 3 of them in a clip. They used to do the TV show afterwards where they do.
Yeah.
I like that as well. And they said, now there's a guy where like Walter White started out as the character that everybody felt bad for because here's this guy, he's got cancer, he's got a family, and you hated Jesse because he was just a street punk wannabe.
Yeah.
And it turned where he ended up hating Walter because he was a fucking prick. All the stuff he did was just
Yeah.
really bad, and you felt sorry for Jesse. It flipped, which rarely
Think
happens.
about how many people died from Walter White.
Oh yeah, I watched videos on that. How many? They've done videos of like who was worse, like Walter White or what was the other character?
Tuco.
Well, Tuco. Forget about that. I mean, Tuco is somebody from another show,
Oh,
and they would compare him. And yeah, Tuco was a bad dude, man. That was
a lot of you forget about this, but Walter White was part of that plane crashing. So that was how many
He-
people on that
right.
plane.
That's right, because it was the guy's daughter who he watched die. I told Brian this is something I do when I go. My daughter, older daughter, watched the show, and she used to call me Heisenberg because she goes, "Dad, I know, I know you, and I don't really do chemistry." She says, but I know you know a lot about science, and you know how to make stuff, and you don't tell me what you do in the garage. So I know you probably make meth somewhere. So what I did is when she got her first apartment, I made these.
Oh, okay.
I just made like 100 of them, and I went to her apartment. And now when she got her house, I did it in the house too. I even made smaller ones, and I take them and I put double stick tape on them, and I stick them everywhere in her apartment. I put them like in the bathroom mirror. Some of them were easy places, inside of closets, inside of cabinets. It's like, And then she'll call, she'll let me know when she finds one. I said, yeah, you've got a few more to go.
That's cool.
I'm in a car, I put her under the visor and all. I'm like, Heisenberg is everywhere. So this is funny. A guy at the shop owns an
306.
Aztec. He
Oh.
owns an Aztec.
Yeah.
And he was hooked up with this place down in Florida. This guy Deza, who has I think I told you, he bought an old mall and basically made it into his car mecca. So
Yep.
like each store now is either an era 20s, 30s, 40s, and it has a 20s or 30s, 40s car in it. Plus, he collects everything. So there's furniture, rugs,
Wow.
paintings. He's got
Scooters, a million scooters he has.
million scooters. He's got the biggest verified James Bond car collection. So Mike had brought down a bunch of his stuff. Let's see if I have a picture of it. Because
Where's that at? Where is that?
it's in Orlando.
Yeah.
So he has an Aztec, and people immediately would say, "Oh, was that from Breaking Bad?" So what he did is, I know it's because he just brought it back. It's sitting in the shop where I'm at. He lettered it all up like Breaking Bad. And I'm like, "Oh, shit, look at that!" So I sent the pictures down to my daughter. I said, "Here's the car you got to buy." I said, "You got to have this, and ride this around town." She's like, "Oh my god, I don't know if I take it to school, the schools, if they're gonna really feel feel happy about that." Did I do it this month? Oh shit! Because I didn't do it. Let me see.
Yeah, I need to go there again. I haven't been there in a while. It's probably been almost 2 years since I've been there.
Yeah.
The cool
Where
thing is they had Grand National from Fast and Furious when they're driving backwards.
Oh yeah.
And the guy just goes, "Here, come here, let me show you." The guy was giving us a little tour. He's, "Let me show you." They made the car backwards. So the guy, there was a steering wheel, but he was sitting in the back seat, like sideways, driving the thing
Uh-huh.
backwards. I was like, "Oh, okay." It was just, they took the body, flipped it around on the frame, and then that's how it was going. I was like, that's crazy.
Right.
Yeah, like, and he couldn't see, so he had like cameras. So he's looking at a monitor. He's sitting like this, looking at a monitor, and the steering wheel's over here or something like that. Yeah, and he's driving like this, looking at this monitor.
Huh.
I was like, that's nuts. I'm like,
Yeah, tricks of the trade, huh?
but it was weird. Like, yeah, it was weird. Like you would open the trunk and, oh look, there's an engine.
Yeah.
That's like, that's odd.
All right. Here we go. I found it. Oh damn! Why isn't it freaking? Let's see what.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to traveling, so I'm gonna go places like that. You know what I mean? Just stop in.
Yeah, let me know when you go there. I'll meet you. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
I grew up in Orlando, so I need to go back down and see some friends.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, when I'm down there, sure.
This is the hood, and they made this as a display. I mean, it's not the right color,
Right.
but people still thought it was from the movie, from the TV show.
That's
And
funny.
there's the Desert Autoseum auto body, because he brought the Autoseum from up here down there, and Desert is the guy who owns the mall.
Yep.
So, but this was cool. So I took a picture of me with my face next to that, and I sent it to my daughter. I said, "Remember, always apply yourself." Yeah, he even got the license plate, the New Mexico license plate for
Oh,
it.
nice.
Yeah. So, but it was really like a teaching tool. But yeah. So that was
That's
that
cool.
was pretty cool.
Hey guys, I'm gonna jump ship. You guys need anything from me? You know where I'm at.
All right, man, and keep putting up those shorts. Those are fantastic.
Yeah, I'll get
Yep,
some
I'm
with John. I'll get some with John and send them over to you.
That'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be great. I know his wife will love to see him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna use that now. That website.
You know, I have
Stuff in
when
there.
I go look at previous shows, man. Every time I see them, dude, it's just
I know.
you know what I mean. It's just
I was real happy to see when I saw that the thumbnail. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. And then when I listened to it, I'm like, he isn't fucking talking. I said, and John would do that. Like, we all have those nights where we're kind of quiet. I was
Yeah.
like, damn, the one time he isn't talking, I can't believe it.
I got a whole bunch of them. I'll send them to you.
Yeah, that'd
They
be
got like
great.
a
I
confirmation
appreciate
of him eating ice cream all the time.
that. Oh yeah. Well, yeah, the Italian ices.
Yep.
Tiny ices, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
Good stuff. So,
that's
All right.
funny.
all right,
All right.
Louis. Thanks.
See you guys. See you next week. Have a good week.
All
All
right.
right, Liz, take it easy.
Gotcha.
See you, man.
All right. So I guess now, I guess I should tell you the rest of the story, but we should, I guess, wrap this for the night. It's about the right amount of time, and we'll be back next week, probably talking about more cool stuff. Louis Lee, Playing in Traffic, me, Ray Guarino, you, Mecho Man Brian, Justin, who hasn't been around for a while. Good to see you again,
Yeah, man.
and Keith. Justin, what do I tell the people waiting for me to take out the garbage?
Well, you can tell them that they can follow you online, but they better not follow you home.
That's right, because I'll get my Breaking Bad van out and I'll take care of them. All right. We'll see all you people next week. See you.
Later,
Take it
you.
easy.
All right.